What's up?
The Babbling Heads Podcast.
Yo, what's up? It's the Base 187. This is the Babbling Heads Podcast.
I am DJ Fingers.
I'm Adrian Kearns.
Charlie X to C.
And today we're featuring the Cape Coloured Congress National Secretary, Sakeena Frenchman, sorry. I use the Afrikaans word, Fransman.
Fransman, né?
Ja.
Is die Marius Fransman se familie nie?
Engelse
Dit
Frans.
is nader aan die mic. I think let's before I weer use van dieselfde vraag, but I'm really interested in this question. How did you get to be in politics, and more specifically, being involved with the CCC, Gatville Cape Townian, before the CCC? How did you get involved with that?
Okay, I've never been interested in politics, never ever. I was a community worker, if you can call it that. A friend of mine, she was with Gatville, and she kept asking me, please join us.
Yeah.
And about a month after they started, I joined.
Okay.
So that's how I became involved with Gatville.
Cool. Was it maybe because you saw what's happening on the Cape Flats and stuff like that? Was that maybe a contributing factor?
It was seeing that on that platform, I would be able to help people more. Because before that, I was just dealing with homeless people.
Okay.
But Gatville made it a bit broader.
But wat soever dink jy is die grootste suksesse soever en wat is die failure soever van CCC?
Our biggest successes would be our small wins. Because even though we haven't participated in any elections, we've actually made considerable achievements. Not so good. It's the fact that we don't have money. It's actually pretty tough. You know, you want to do stuff, but you can't because you're limited.
Yeah, happens you.
I was going to get to that point. Thanks for asking that, Nental. If you look at politics is about money. We know it's about money. If your political party is doing well, it means that somewhere behind you there is money being funded. Yeah. And like you said, the CCC isn't really resourced. You know, you don't have like that. You don't have that.
We don't have bucks.
Yeah, you don't have the Oppenheimers. You don't have the Cyril
Guptas.
Ramaphosa's and the Guptas. You know, giving 2 million a year. Let's go and do campaigns in. So how do you manage that? How do you? Because I mean, your following is quite good in Cape Town. So you're doing something right.
Our actions. That is what we are doing right. At the moment, I'm managing a political party on a national level from my bedroom without any resources. We don't have a printer. We have nothing. And we taking it on a day-to-day basis.
With you guys being now essentially self-taught politicians now, community activists coming to the fore and taking control where the local ward councillors, etc., are failing. I think also with the advent of the digital age, things have become much more easy in terms of communication, having the WhatsApp groups, Stratcom committees, etc., where you can, especially under COVID. So I'm sure you guys have faced quite a few challenges as a result of not being able to mobilize, which I'm sure your political opposites of, antagonists, I'm sure they've been reveling in the fact, because obviously they have a well-oiled machine, they got funding, etc. I wanted to check, doesn't the IEC award a budget to burgeoning political parties, like startup political parties? Isn't the...
No, they don't. Not if it's your first time.
Not if it's your first time. So only after the election itself do you get funding?
Not even after the election, no.
You have to
That's
get...
when you contest.
Test, yeah. And you actually have to put up money first. And and then you have to get a certain amount of votes. And then only you get some sort of support. Yeah.
So that brings me to the question: how are you guys raising the funds? What initiatives you have in place? aside from the membership fees, for people to get involved, people who would want to support the movement, how do they go about doing that?
They can. We ask for donations.
Yeah.
We do. And then we have the T-shirts that we're selling to raise funds. Branches on their own are doing their own fundraising to assist themselves. I don't know how we've done it until this far without any funding. Also, people, it's almost like we as CCC have to pay for the sins of other political parties that has been there. So people are not wanting to give freely. So it's going to cost us to probably set up meetings and just prove ourselves over and
Credible.
over again.
Yeah, I think that from me, we know that there's been other political parties that stood for the colored community in Cape Town. And unfortunately, they've shown themselves to jump ship as soon as they got into power.
Yeah.
I'm not going to mention names.
Now mention names. I'm thinking now. For me personally, I don't I can't think of any other party that. The ones that claimed was like the DA in the beginning. No?
The ID, Independent
Oh
Democrats.
yeah.
Yeah, because they just faded away.
Yeah.
It's like we voted for them and then they just became part of the DA.
So I'm good for you, no?
Yeah, exactly.
Undecided.
Good for nothing. That's like one thing we can assign to Patricia de Lille, irrespective of her contributions while under the PAC. Sadly, she's not followed through or represented us to the best of her ability, especially when she was mayor of Cape Town. So yeah, she did allude to the mismanagement of the properties, etc. But at the end of the day, she was a willing recipient. And we didn't see, since she was Minister of Social Development, we didn't see any hard changes being made for the betterment of colored people within this city.
Yeah, that's probably the reason why I'm backing the CCC so much, because for me, there's a heart on it, man. There's and I can see it through your actions, man. Even when the camera is off, wanneer ek en hy praat, ons het al dealings gewet al buite al, wat jy kan sien na.
And there's visible change.
You can see now where the commitment is net nie 'n political ding om in power te kom en once in power is dan.
No.
Ja. Kijk, ons het 'n guest gehad verlede week en ons toe praat ons 'n bietjie oor die CCC en so aan te. En die persoon het bietjie criticism gegee man. One of the criticisms was gewees the handling of actual criticism on Facebook. Not dealing it in a respectable manner. What do you think is the problem? And how do you think you guys can handle it better? Net om sulke mense, look, they have a valid reason to say what they say. They have a reason to say, but jy moet mos altyd bitter raak, man. Soos tyd aangaan, man. You know what I'm saying? That was een van die criticism. Ek sal nou nog een.
Can I add to that? Because I was gonna get to that, but I'm glad you brought that in that way, because I don't wanna be the person that I'm thinking like that now. But I had the opportunity to go through your constitution about a month ago. I wanted to read, and I come from government, and they know. And I wanted to get a sense of what is your vision, what is your manifesto really trying to push. And one of the things that stood out for me was your reference to the first people. And I thought, okay, cool. We struggle with that. Over the last 20 years, we have in KwaZulu-Natal, we have the Zulus taking up that space and saying, no, this is our land. In Eastern Cape, we have the Xhosas taking up that space and saying, nope, this is our land, we want this. And in the Western Cape, unfortunately, we just haven't gotten to that point where either we as people, from the first people, have taken up that space, or we've allowed the system to control us still, even under democracy. Because if you look at the Khoisan, they're just not, how can I say, represented well in the space. There's no traditional
just a correction, that term shouldn't be used.
What?
Khoisan.
Khoi.
It's either Khoi or Bushman or San.
Okay, Khoi.
So, okay, so.
Okay, thank you. So what I'm trying to get to is that there will be criticism, and it's also because of the previous parties that were supposed to represent us that didn't, and now the CCC is there, and they promulgated to say that they're going to represent the colored community. There's this feeling of, are you really going to represent us?
Definitely. we are with regards to how we respond to people's messages on the Facebook page, the social platform. People seem to think that it's us responding when it's members responding to their negativity. So it's not us, it's the members that does it. And we don't have control over that. I can tell you this much, that man standing over there has grown considerably. So he is no longer attacking people on Facebook. I'm very proud of that, I must say. Yeah, so it's not us. It's, I mean, I don't address people like that. I always address them respectfully.
The problem is, and the danger is, if you not gonna handle criticism in a decent way, is the fact that you create the echo chamber syndrome, where you're just gonna hear good things, nanas, good things, but you're not gonna hear wat actually daar buite aangaan nie, man. You know what I'm saying? As jy gaan van jou supporters jy altyd hoor dan there's no room to grow, man. You know what I'm saying? That's a problem.
I'm gonna say something. So I actually responded to a comment, but it wasn't the CCC. It was somebody, you know, they comment against.
Yes.
So this person said in 10 years he applied for bursaries and he was so frustrated he just didn't get. He's a colored person, and then I responded and said, no man, that's bullshit. Sorry. Yes, you might have struggled, but there is ways and means. If you understand the system and you get the information, you can apply for bursaries. There's a system of government, and are our colored people, I'm going to be very blatant here, are they just not strong enough, or they're not resilient enough to go into that space and say, I want a bursary. Unfortunately, there is a system that I need to apply and go for this, and this. Similarly with housing, similarly with education, there is a way to get to something. And I sometimes feel that because of the old system of a part giving us always something, they gave us houses, flats, they gave us the cheap flats, and we're like, oh, okay, thank you, boss. They gave us the mediocre salary or the mediocre job. They gave us the tertiary education that is only be a nurse or be a teacher. So we were comfortable with being given stuff. Now in democracy, you are supposed to take that initiative because there's a space now, and you need to go and I need to apply for the bursary, or I need to go and apply for the job and go through the process. I still feel that our communities aren't educated, firstly, or not informed enough to understand that you must put in something to get out something. You can't
So you're saying we've become complacent.
Yes. We become receivers. We're comfortable with receiving. We're not comfortable with taking that
On a
initiative.
welfare mindset. Welfare.
Yes.
I get what you're saying.
I'd have to say that not everyone is like that. Not all colors are that way. We've experienced where people have faced barriers. I mean, when you look at the National Youth funding that you do,
the National Youth Development Agency.
this year it was 97 blacks that received the funding, and it's not for our colored people not trying. So there are barriers, and it makes you tired. And what do they do after that? They've been trying, and I mean, 10 years, you give up.
I would say easier, clear way forward in terms of, say for instance, we go to the next elections, Cape Coloured Congress gets X amount of seats, hopefully by landfall takes over the DA's majority rule in the city.
Hopefully they're going to get the seats. They're
going to get the seats.
We need them there.
Yeah. And I know Fadil has from day one said that whoever wants or feels that they have the knowledge, have the capabilities to step up and come to the party and fill those positions. So like, I don't think it's for lack of better word. I think also as coloureds, don't want to make a generalization, but we tend to wait and see what happens. So it's a wag tot hulle in power kom, sien wat maak hulle, sien hoe fok hulle op, en okay, dan gaan hulle so sê, ja, ek wil gesê. But I think that unfortunately is the mentality to a large degree with our people. But at the same point, we also need to know, like from your side, your plans that you have in place in terms of housing, in terms of education and access to tertiary level education. Because we don't want our children to become the next Packers and stuff like that. We want to give them the opportunities to be able to be like at
White person.
the Caucasians and say, I want to take a gap year, I want to go travel, I want to explore Europe, and I feel I have enough resources and I have the backing, I can come back and I have my course waiting for me, I'm going to do my 3 years, etc. And I'm going to walk into this job and earn X amount of salary, I'm going to take myself out of Manenberg. Not necessarily, you don't always have to go out, but I see myself living in Woodstock or Observatory or Bloubergstrand or wherever the case may be. Just for that, people, is there a clear chart in terms of saying, this is the current issues we are facing with the housing. So for backyard dwellers, what is the solutions? What is the solutions in terms of accessing TVET colleges or UCT or UWC, etc.? Is there a plan to say, like, this is how we're going to streamline and make these opportunities available, more easily available, to reduce the red tape? How are we going to hold, in this province, how are we going to hold the National Youth Development Agency accountable for the distribution of funds when we are the majority race group within this province, yet we are not being catered to?
I just want to say that INYDA, ek ken die organisation baie goed. When I worked in government, we tried to partner them. It's frustrating. I just want to add to what you're saying. It's frustrating because you have to submit a business plan, for example, and you get 50,000 rand. But there was actually conspiracy to say that these people actually take the business plan. They say, you don't get it, Shakil. And then they give it to the Chome Kolisi. I'm going to be very blatant here. I could get into serious shit for this. And then they get the money, siphon it through to that person. That person didn't even have a business plan. And then they do some freaking car wash in Kailicha, for 5,000 rand, and they get the 20,000 rand. Okay, fine. So yeah, I agree with you on that.
But does that answer your question about colored people being lazy and being complacent?
No, it's not. You put both sides, and I want to hear what you have to say about the way forward because these two sides to this coin that I'm at right now is that the side is these people that really need use, like really like colored people that like lighties and parents that's so wanting to make a change in the situation, but then there's another group.
The corrupt group, yeah.
Corrupt group, the group that's ek is happy. I'm a gangster. I'm happy to be lumming at home, getting my social grant. So I'd like to. I also want to answer to that.
Okay, this that you're talking about now is what we are also still currently developing. Talking to communities and getting what they want.
Nice.
With the housing, what we plan is to make land available. To the people, so they can actually build their own houses instead of having houses built on soccer fields. Yeah, because that is the land that they're making available currently for our people. So they take away the children's sports
and that's also important.
Yes. So making the land available and providing the housing grant that they're getting, use that, not give it to them, but buy the building materials, and then they can build their own houses. With universities and TVET colleges, we had this discussion the other day. We will demand, if I can put it like that, 50% colored representation because we've always been sidelined for it. Yeah. So that will be our focus will be.
I like that. I like the fact that the demand is valid. Yes. The demand is, if you look at the demographics of the Western Cape.
Definitely. And it's supposed to be like that. I think it is considered like that. No? But the problem is, it is meant to be like that, but the application of it doesn't get. Sakeena, ik wil van jou die vraag nou. Hoe the CCC is a representative of colored people?
Yes.
Do you think that it will ever get to a point where, say nou, ons is nou 10 jaar in en julle kry seats en julle basically rival the opposition, the national opposition basically. Right? Do you think it will ever get to a point where you will represent more than just the colored people? Want ek het vir even met hulle die conversation gehad, it's difficult to be pro-colored and not seem like you're anti-black or anti-white man. And I try to get it's extremely difficult. I try to get the balance, but ek myself sukkel man en ek try om vir hulle te oreed nie om hulle te sê dat ons moet we need to play a more balancing act on the podcast waar ons sien ons is racist nie, but we want to be pro colored men. So do you guys think about that as because
Yes.
obviously right now you need to be more for the colored people because you see there's a hell of a need of it, and the
We get asked that on a daily basis. We stand for fairness and equality. Okay. So I just spoke about demographics. So in Khayelitsha, demographics will apply there. We're not going to say employ 50 colored people there.
Yeah.
So basically, we are fighting for their demographics as well.
I like that man.
So even in a white area, we will be fighting for your businesses in your area that tender to get the jobs in your area. So it's pro-colored because we have been sidelined. We can't deny that.
I like it.
I think I know we've had a lot of people, and there's been a lot of discussions the past few weeks in terms of what is considered colored identity and heritage, etc. And on one side, there's a narrative that comes from some African tribes saying we're products of rape, etc. But if you're looking at it realistically, with the amount of intermarriages, clans fusing, being taken over by other clans, if you're looking at the Zulu, the construct of Zulu is Shaka Zulu went out and conquered tribes and assimilated them into the construct called Zulu. So Zulu in itself is colored. Colored in itself, if you're looking at Anglo-Saxons, French, etc., Germans, Vikings, etc., people all mixed. There's no one true race. You can't say I'm British, but you got Welsh, you got Irish, Cornish, etc. So
Blood.
the term colored for me actually means the global community because it's been so intermixing. If you do a DNA test now and you're going to trace your heritage, you'll find these portions from here, from all over the world. So I think at the end of the day, it's going to come to a point where humanity is colored. So it won't be the taboo term, the bastard stepchildren of the past, etc. Because there's different mixes. The beauty of colored is we identify with a culture, with a shared lived experience. There's certain things that jy weet, jy het in die Bonte groot geword, of jy het hier groot geword, things that are shared. And like I said, we're sitting here, we range the gamut in terms of shades of brownness to blackness to darkness to different grossness, straightness, etc. Color eyes, etc. I'm the black sheep in the family. I'm the only one with brown eyes. My sisters and brothers with color eyes. Verstaan jy? But that's the thing, we still identify. My broer lyk soos 'n German.
Nentel
Ek
is
lyk
die
soos Malaysian.
lelijkste.
Nentel is Korean. Verstaan jy? It's like that's the thing. It's like we are a beautiful. We are the epitome of the rainbow nation because we represent everything within us, and it's because we identify as being colored, as having that experience of going on a Sunday morning. Ze weet ze gaat naar Antimona toe, ze gaat de kussenzaal. Ze heeft moslims gekregen wat in die church gaan sit, bittere die bittere sing as a keergouers. Ze krijgen die Chris wat convert naar Islam toe, wat de bittere Muslim is of whatever. Of meer dingen. And that's the thing, is like we've never had that segregation. In our adversity, we've come together and we've created these traditions that they say we are so, we lack a culture, etc. That's not the case. We've created so much. The term Cape Jazz itself, ik meen, wie jazz er nog? But ons het dat gereikt. Wie het freestyle dance gereikt? It's a particular genre and styles that happen within the Cape that's endemic and is ingrained within the. Remember the heart was playing Langaram yesterday, and I mean stuff that was taken from a Boere context and recreated and adapted. So we took the banjo that was played in the US by that minstrels.
Blikkies gitaar.
And that was Guma music. Reddy D is releasing his new album, Guma music. So that's the thing. Is like, I think essentially at the end of the day, the whole of South Africa is mixed. If you look at Nelson Mandela, the man has Khoi and San heritage. Hy het cheekbones as daar. Verstaan jy? Amongst the tribes, they refer to lighter skinned people of color as yellow bones. Yellow bones. So that in itself tells you that they has been mixing over the years. The the isiXhosa got the clicks in their language from the Bushman. The Bushman has 11 clicks in the Kamtal. So for me, it's like I think the whole illusion of race. Nah, julle is almal colored. Julle wil net nie weet nie. So come to the party. Daar's sisters, daar's samosas, daar's dalsies.
The problem was nou, even though soos jy nou sê die eventually gaat allemaal op die aarde colored wees of a mixed race.
Yeah.
The powers that be will find a way to divide us because like ons het gepraat het in die weekend, it is a mechanism to keep us separate. And daar is hoekom ek sê from a personal point of view, I'm trying to get to a point where I can still say I can push the proudly colored thing without offending anybody, man. Without basically saying what the system is wrong, addressing the system what it is, for what it is, catering for certain people, but without judging the people that's benefiting from it, man. You know what I'm saying? Just on a lighter note, maybe not that light. The cliques then. You're a female, you're in politics. What do you think? What is your point of view with regards to that?
Okay. My personal point of view is that we have a lot more going on than Yemen. You know, so if as power they have influence, they need to use that influence to get houses, to get more schools built, instead of burning things down. That's how I feel.
The conspiracy in my theorist in my wil sê amper dat it is orchestrated, man. It is om vir ons so minds weg te hou van die regte korrupsie wat aangaan. Want baie mense vir hele paar weke die mense begin ek vra nou kykie waar is die billions, man? Waar is die geld? Ek weet nie hoeveel is gesteel en ek wat nou en ek dink aan die begin toe die EFF gecreate gewees het almal gesê kykie is nog altyd die ANC as men dat hulle create nou net nog 'n splinte sodat hulle kan kakkos. So basically hulle create hulle eie opposition party basically supposedly.
Yeah.
But vir my dink ek is orchestrated, maar ek dink hulle is regtig so offended by dit.
But I think our people, they've woken up. They're not going to be blindsided anymore. So they speak
the truth. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing we can say that our people in general, we're not quiet anymore. And you can be upset for the EFF in how they handle things. You can be upset with the CCC in how they handle things. People aren't quiet. People are frustrated.
But don't you think it's the CCC that gave them that voice?
Maybe.
I think so.
The thing is, I think people generally, communities or just human, we connect with somebody that can take our voice forward. Because I was making a comment yesterday. I'm presenting in the week. I said, greater in numbers. And on the Cape Flats, there's probably a lot of people. I know a guy that worked in Nova Park as a councillor. Great guy, Ricardo Cedrus. He was pushing, but he was pushing all on his own. He swapped between parties from IFP to independent, just so that he can stay in that voice. Because people actually link to him as their voice, not to the party. They didn't give a rat's ass about the IFP.
It's a person.
It's the person.
Yeah.
So we connect with what we think that group or that party. And unfortunately, sometimes they let us down. So I'm still going to go back to your question. You spoke about the housing. I'd like to know, like, next year's the local government elections, God willing, inshallah, because I don't know what ANC, they also might cancel it because of COVID to find a reason. What is your target? What do you want to achieve in next year's local government election?
That's a good question.
Op die spot. Moenie vir hom kyk. Wat so vaar jy lag?
Nou sien dit skade weer agter.
The reason why I can't answer that question is I do the behind the scenes work and seeing that all the structures are in place. Yeah, I don't know what to do.
But what do you aspire to? Like you're passionate about what you're doing. Is this something that you think, you know what, Sakeena, as Sakeena, if the CCC can just have this by next year, then...
Yes, obviously we want to have seats in council.
Okay.
So that we can effect change. Without that, we can't do. We couldn't do it with Gatful. We realized that with Gatful, we need a political party.
Yeah.
We need a political voice. There, my voice went. to take us forward.
Sweet.
Ek het een vraag, man. When the CCC is in power, are you guys gonna rebuild the flats? Because I staan al af voor 40 jaar al.
Yeah,
Thanks
I think the flats were only designed to exist for a maximum period of 60 years. They weren't structurally engineered to exist beyond that. What is the CCC? Like you said, you'll be promoting for the distribution of land and building materials and grants, etc. But in terms of restitution, as the first recipients of colonialism in the Western Cape, from day one, born,
Shame, arme Sakeena, hulle sit daar heavy op die spot nou.
what is I've seen it like happening in the States and in Australia, etc. What is, as representatives of descendants of the first indigenous peoples and slaves, etc., that were brought into the Cape, what is the Triple C's? One also funny thing, Triple C was met Cape City Council.
Overals.
Op die overals, op die brein overals met die orange writing. Yeah. So the reboot of the Triple C is in terms of restitution. What is your policy or your game plan in terms of putting people that were currently, previously, futurely disadvantaged colours in terms of restitution? If you're looking at addressing issues such as the Group Areas Act, economic suppression that we've experienced over the years in terms of owning businesses within white areas, etc. And there's like a lot of history in different areas where you can go to Ocean View, you can see how many people own farms. I think if you're looking at the slave history, etc., how people came into power, Kratoa, etc. Even if you're looking at Ochimoa, how Harry controlled the trade in the ports. He controlled Robben Island. That was his slice of the pie. So how are we looking at restitution in terms of bringing the descendants of the colored nation, how are we giving them their piece of the pie? Because that's the one thing national government has been shying away, the ANC has been shying away from it, besides having us on the coats of arms which says, when are you going to fucking recognize or make sure that we are, at least starting up shooting at you or Triple C, when are they going to recognize the contribution that we've made to this country as we're literally being built on our backs? So when are we going to get that restitution and saying, this is your economic, or give me a piece of land so I can build my future and my generations can...
Yeah. No, I think Sakeena's answered that one.
Not an attack.
Yeah. I think you answered that with the idea of giving your one of the goals is to make land available. Like we want to not just one of the things that always puzzles me and it still upsets me is that if we look at apartheid beyond just this Group Areas Act, it is about physical segregation. Like look at the Cape Flats. And even in Langa and some in black areas, they built these flats, and I always say, I always say you can't expect that community to change as if you can't. Like I would find it very difficult to think of becoming a doctor when I'm staying in a 2-bedroom house with 5 people on a 3-story flat with gates around me because there's fences down in our park. As a gun skit and there's you're in a court. And then there's gangetjies and all those things that they built the system in such a way that you live like sorry for this word, like a fucking animal. Sorry, Sakeena. So that's one of the things I'm hoping that the CCC actually looks at these things, the legacy of how apartheid was designed, to start breaking it down, saying, okay, fine.
Just to add to that point, we were taking eavesdrops home. So he asked her, how is it, she used to stay in Park, it must she's living now
in Uppity.
Ja. So hoe is het vir haar omdat sy nou uitgetrek het, man? Sy sê creatively kan sy nou meer dink in die direction, man. Sy hoef nie te worry meer van gunshots nie, sy hoef nie te worry van huis nie, en die occupy so much real estate in jou brein dat sy constantly in fear en just constantly in die worry in, but nou wat sy uitgetrek het, Nou kan sy meer drink aan dinge wat sy wil dink van man. Toe dink ek myself, mense het hy gebeur met al die laities op die Cape Flats man. You know what I'm saying? So almal suffer van an anxiety for a reason man. En is the little things wat add to it man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess that's also like to add to that is that not a question. I'd like to get your sense that I know you want to change things for the colored community, but there's so much history or so trauma. Like my wife asked me, I was with my mom in Overpark. They started shooting gun. The person was lying in the road. My wife was lying on the floor crying, and I had not even blinked an eye. Like, and then she asked me like. So I said, I don't know. I'm just used to this. It's not like
It's normal.
It's normal. So how do we move the normal for what colored people experience for so long, and what can we do? Like I like your idea of giving them land, not just giving them a house, because black people they did that. They burnt the freaking houses down. They can't take care of. If you give somebody something to build himself, they take pride in it.
Maar gee 'n lekker stukkie landjie man. Nie 'n matchboxie huisie kry wat in Pelican Park kry nie asseblief.
Skaapkraal nommers.
Soek 'n lekker skaapkraal. Ek wil 'n paar bieste, ek wil 'n paar skapies as dit. 'n Bietjie hoenders. Become self-sustainable, bietjie. Ja, so 2-3 botsies so wat.
Ons is so by die RDP.
Yeah.
Ons wil RDP geboks wees.
Yeah, we don't want that. Look, changes are not going to happen overnight. You know, it's going to take time to get to where we want to be. Also, changing people's mindsets. It's hard.
Yeah.
People don't accept. They don't want change, or they're scared of change. So it's hard work for us to convince them that we're not bad.
We deserve it.
Yes.
Yeah. For me, that's the thing. It's this fear of colored people, or just people that been through struggle. They don't feel they deserve it. They're not accepting of, you know what, I can. And if the colored Congress can just, I'm again hoping that with the change that he's bringing to the system, and he's bringing that mind shift change to communities in Hanover Park and Manenberg, that, you know what, this flat is not your be all and end all. This is actually a part of the system. I gave it to you. You actually deserve what that black person and that white person is staying in. So we here now to bring about that difference.
Yes.
We're gonna make the system more accepting to what you want or what you need.
Just wake them up a bit.
Wake them up. Yeah.
But I also like to say, like if you're looking at you mentioned this in one of your first comments, that sense of expectancy and the complacency. I think there needs to be a concerted effort from our communities to want to go and look for that education, using whether it's going to be Triple C that provides them with that routes, how to go and access that, how to apply for the housing, how to build that house, how to learn how to build a house, how to get the trade, etc. But not just expecting that Triple C is going to, they promise that now every house needs a washing machine. Go out, here's the tools. We're going to teach you how to do it. Same, it's the old that parable. It's like teach a man to fish. You can give a man a fish, but if you teach him how to fish, hij kan ankap for the rest van zijn leven. So equip them with the necessary skills, provide them with the counseling for the trauma that they dealt with, because our people are fucked up. That is putting it bluntly. We are, like you said, you become so desensitized and dehumanized for you to see like walking past a dead body. Oh my bro, kijk hoe lekker brains. That's fuck all. Take that into a white community. That child will be scarred for life. We are told, my bro, just get over it. Nu worry van hy, ek no worries nog 'n dag. Just worry about surviving. So once you remove that, they have the tools, they have the access to resources, and then here's your economic training. This is how you're going to get to where you want, how to manage your money, because once you have the money, once you have the property, how to grow it. So all that skills, I think there's going to be concerted effort required in terms of social planning, economic planning, education system needs to be overhauled, and then we will start seeing the change, because like we said, colored people will wait, so they first want to see examples of people that have succeeded.
Yeah.
So we need to show them, like going forward, this is the plan in its entirety. Doesn't have to be like broken down into the exact macro and micro economics, but I mean, if you want to look at how people control us, those that are in power, that make the actual changes and policy decisions that tell government what to do, their plan is down to the
Last, yeah.
little nut and bolt. Everything is covered. So I think as a political party, you guys need to get the resources, the relevant players in place that can make that social engineering construct a reality. So that we as a people can progress and prosper and be the best that we can be.
Yeah.
Okay?
I was gonna say, can I in another thing? I'm gonna be like again quite honest. I was very skeptical about CCC. I see Fadil, I'm getting nervous now to say this, but I was very skeptical. I saw the heartful Cape Townians, and my reasoning was that sometimes in the heat of emotion and frustration, you know, and then that's what I said. I had to go through your manifesto. I'm an old school person. And I read it, and now speaking to you, the information you've given me has made me feel a lot more confident about what you're trying to achieve. Because very often the media projects something, and you see that and you think, whoa, I don't want to be associated with that. But now, just thank you for just clearing up some things about the organization and what you have in mind.
Also, I just want to say one thing also. The reason why I asked about the flats is because, you know...
He stays in the flats, that's why.
No, but the other guests, and then they spoke about the community center being burnt down and the rent office. Okay, my personal opinion of that is that we became so satisfied with what we have that we don't realize that it's shit that we got. Understand? Like, if you go to the rent office, you'll wait 2 months for the city to come. That's how it is. That's how it is. So the rent office isn't actually working for us. In Lavendale, the flats burnt down. Like there's about 4 houses that burnt down. Right? Now that means it's living in containers. That was about in the beginning of the year, way before I moved to Lotus. And houses still hasn't been sorted out. They're building new stairs. They want to put in aluminium window frames. They want to do all that shit, but they don't want to sort out the people. Understand? That means to blame containers, my bro. Imagine me living in a container on the side of the flats as mense guns gedaan wat gebeur saam met.
Maar daai is die ding, man, hulle sien nie net as mense.
Another Blikkiesdorp.
Nog 'n Blikkiesdorp. Yeah, which is like Wolvergat. Those people, unfortunately, they do not see the humanity in us because we've been so complacent and accepting of all the shit they've been feeding us. They feel that it's just right that they make a container, they can survive. Yes, you can. I've watched a lot of videos in terms of how to convert a container into sustainable homes. But daar is 'n rou container, sonne installation, etc. Jy gaat kakkout kry in die winter en jy gaat jou moer afsweet in die somer.
It's been winter.
Exactly. So yeah, I think just like what they perceive as acceptable, it's not acceptable, and it's from our side, from my side specifically, it's time for them to say, look here, unfortunately we're tired of being treated like dogs, like animals. We want what is ours, what is due to us. We will take this and we'll take ownership of our future by voting in a party that can actually make this a reality. With that being said, from the Babbling Heads, we'd like to thank Sakeena Frenchman for availing herself. I know you were very nervous initially.
Thank you for having me.
So yeah, peace out, and yeah, we're looking forward to seeing what happens at the local elections.
Yeah.
Sure.
They have my vote now. I'll vote for them.
Hulle betaal jy so jou dinge so jy
Membership fees.
Membership ja.
Ja, ek sal.
Koop 'n T-shirt of 2.
Ek sal.
Het julle double XL? Ek is a big boy.
The Baby Podcast.
Peace.
Thank you so much.